Good evening. Welcome back to I'm Rob Finnerty. And I guess we were all under the impression that the train was a-coming and it was going to get Donald Trump.
I don't feel like my reputation needs to be reclaimed. Let's say it for the record. I'm not embarrassed by anything I've done. I guess my greatest crime is I had a relationship with a man, but that's not something that I find embarrassing in any way. I don't feel like we've been slowed down at all. I do think that there are efforts to slow down this train, but the train is coming.
Actually, Fani, I don't think that train's a-coming anymore. A Georgia appeals court just tossed Fulton County DA Fani Willis off the Trump election interference case. Fani Willis, the same woman who hired her boyfriend, who was married to another woman at the time, and paid his law firm $650,000 taxpayer dollars to work on the Trump case. Fani Willis, who then took wild vacations with said boyfriend to Caribbean islands and Florida, into California wine country, Napa, Sonoma, and she doesn't even like wine. And we know that because she told us.
He likes wine. I don't really like wine, to be honest with you. I like Grey Goose. I bought him a bottle of wine while we were there.
The arrogance of these people, the I am better than you-ism of these people, anybody else on the planet, none of this happens. Maybe Elon Musk, but if it's not Donald Trump, never happens. But Democrats and the media did everything in their power to prevent Donald Trump from ever being president again. But in 32 days, Donald Trump will be president again. It all failed. Every single thing they tried to do to get Trump failed. Shakespearean, really, if you think about it. Joe Biden is going to leave office as one of the worst to ever do the job. And when the history is finally written, Donald Trump is going to be a great story of triumph. Which brings me back to the media and their role in all of this. In 2015, when Donald Trump first called the fake news media fake news for the very first time, trust in the media was at 56%, almost 60%. That number right now is at 30%. Donald Trump single-handedly changed the way that Americans consume information by pointing out something that Richard Nixon called out himself 50 years ago. Take a look.
When we think of the media in this country, the problem is that they have a sense of self-righteousness, a double standard on issue after issue after issue. They can find everything wrong with somebody else, but they will not look inside and ever admit that they could be wrong themselves. You know, the media is always talking about the imperial presidency, the power of the imperial presidency. I think we ought to hear a little bit of discussion of the imperial media and its power. You see, presidential power is limited by the courts, limited by the Congress. The media's power is unlimited.
He was on to that 50 years ago, but today Americans have options that sadly never existed during Nixon's time. I wish they did, but Americans, for the first time in history, in the history of television, don't have to watch ABC, CBS, or NBC, or CNN, or MSNBC, and people are turning away by the millions, and Donald Trump is the one that lifted the veil and exposed the media for what they've been for decades, and that is bias and corrupt. Think about the roar from the crowd at a baseball game after the home team hits a home run. Think about the fans, all on their feet, cheering and yelling. Now imagine one of the fans, the loudest guy in the stadium, the guy that's got his face painted. Imagine if he was asked to be an umpire in that game on the field. Imagine if he was asked to call balls and strikes. Do you think he'd be fair? Do you think maybe he'd probably do something like this to help out his favorite team? Take a look.
Strike?
All right, camera guys are laughing. That was Leslie Nielsen in The Naked Gun, and Leslie Nielsen just did exactly what every single anchor working at ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, and MSNBC has done every single time they've covered a story involving Donald Trump. Like fans for the other team, like an umpire with a kid on the team, but it all ends now. They've all been exposed, and everyone, even people who don't watch the news, they are aware of what's going on with the news. Jake Tapper, Dana Bash, Morning Joe, Nora O'Donnell, Joy Reid, David Muir, George Stephanopoulos. They are all Leslie Nielsen in The Naked Gun, and it keeps happening. Another corrupt, biased Leslie Nielsen tried to prove that something Donald Trump somehow said was somehow wrong, only to be proved wrong herself again. Take a look.
Migrants, including in Aurora, in Colorado, where Trump said the city had been invaded and conquered by Venezuelan gangs. Do you support Donald Trump making those claims that the Republican mayor says were grossly exaggerated and have hurt the city's identity and sense of safety?
Well, Martha, you just said the mayor said they were exaggerated.
Grossly exaggerated.
That means there's got to be some element of truth here. And of course, President Trump was actually in Aurora, Colorado, talking to people on the ground.
So I'm going to stop you because I know exactly what happened.
Martha.
I'm going to stop you. The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border. But frankly, we're not going to do better, Martha, unless Donald Trump calls this stuff out. I'm glad that he did.
Okay, let's just end that with they did not invade or take over the city, as Donald Trump said. I want to move on to
just a few
women.
Apartment complexes, no big deal.
A few apartment complexes that the mayor did not seem was invading the entire city. Let's move on to women and abortion.
I want to throw up. It makes me want to throw up when I watch that. The arrogance is unbelievable. Who taught you that, Martha? Senator, I'm going to stop you now because I know exactly what happened. That's what she said. Martha Raddatz, one of the all-time great hacks. She stopped an interview with a candidate for vice president to say that she knows exactly what happened. Martha Raddatz is another hack, liar, dishonest, fake umpire journalist that should not be reporting the news. CBS should let her go immediately. And Kristen Welker just doubled down on the same story on NBC. She just did the same thing.
Number one, we're doing criminals, and we're going to do them really rapidly. We're getting the worst gang probably with MS-13, and the Venezuelan gangs are the worst in the world. They're vicious, violent people. And you see what they've done in Colorado and other places. They're taking over, literally taking over apartment complexes and doing it with impunity. They don't care. They couldn't. They just are. They're in the real estate business.
You know, the local police say that is not the case in Colorado.
Oh, it's totally the case. I mean, I have it
you
on
don't
tape.
believe the local police.
I play it. I used to play it at my rallies every single night. No, they're breaking into doors. They're taking over the building.
But sir, you
and by the way, the
point.
police are afraid to do anything.
Kristen Welker in The Naked Gun as Leslie Nielsen. They just can't help it. Their bias is so baked into everything they do. It's always there in every report. Martha Raddatz, not a journalist, and neither is Kristen Welker. These are people that are only concerned, and this is important, they're only concerned with impressing their friends and their colleagues in New York City. Their brains are hardwired for stupid. Kamala Harris, good. Donald Trump, bad. And the only way to fix this is to get these people out of New York and out of Washington. If NBC News was headquartered in Kansas City or Tampa, their ratings would go up. But because right now everything they do is geared toward pleasing people that live on this awful little island in the state of New York and in Washington, D.C., they are forgetting about the rest of the country. Now back to Aurora, Colorado. Why did I bring that up? Well, it turned out that Donald Trump and J.D. Vance were right all along. Take a look at what happened out there in Aurora just 2 days ago.
14 people detained at the edge of Lowry Apartments in Aurora early this morning. So that complex, of course, drawing national attention in recent months.
Police responding to reports of a home invasion, a stabbing, and a potential kidnapping.
14 men, all illegals and all alleged to be part of that same Venezuelan gang, were arrested Tuesday in Aurora, Colorado at the exact same apartment complex, the Lowry Apartments, that both Donald Trump and J.D. Vance were talking about. And the media wonders why nobody is paying attention anymore. They've gotten away with it for so long that they don't know how to tell the truth anymore. They have forgotten how to call balls and strikes. And reports that should have come out months ago don't make up for it right now. The Wall Street Journal today casually admitting just a few hours ago that Joe Biden has essentially been incapacitated with dementia for the last 4 years. How the White House functioned with a diminished Biden in charge. Where was that reporting 6 months ago? And why didn't we hear anything about Joe Biden having dementia until after he already dropped out of the race? In Nixon time, 80% of Americans trusted the three major networks. That number is now 20%. And unless they pull Leslie Nielsen out of the game and put in people who actually want to tell the truth, this is never going to stop.
Information. Truth. Is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.